It's riot season in LA, the best time to go shopping for fully discounted Jordans. Protests broke out all over the country last week in response to the Trump administration's ramped up ICE deportations of illegal and sometimes not so illegal immigrants. LA was ground zero for these protests/riots. The whole world saw looped images of Waymos being burned, cop cars being vandalized, and hooligans throwing rocks at federal agents. Podcast hacks like Joe Rogan, Patrick Bet-David, and whatever Mormon couple this is from a show called Redacted, and other shills from the so-called alternative media dumped gasoline on the fear-mongering, calling this the beginning of a civil war. LA is falling. We're all being engulfed in flames by anarchists and Mexican cartels, blah, 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 blah. But just how bad were these LA riots? And much more importantly, how are these supposed riots being used as an excuse to usher in a new and terrifying era of mass surveillance that's going to turn America into an Orwellian nightmare, a Chinese-style society where everyone and everything is monitored at all times. So let me add to the fear porn for a minute by saying we might now actually be witnessing the decline of the American empire and our democracy in real time. So let's get into it. And before we get going, mash that like button. Literally squeeze it as hard as you can. Sub to the channel if you haven't already. Vámonos, pinche cabrones. All right, you guys. Riot season in LA, it's a tradition. It feels like Coachella almost. You're like, oh my God, is it riot season again? The year went by so fast. And it's very interesting. Rumble's going crazy right now. The right-wingers, dude, they're feasting right now. Steven Crowder and all of these other, who else do I call them? They're lovers of the state. They're lovers of the state. Joe Rogan is a lover of state power. These people who supposedly are for freedom and limited government, they love when riot cops come beating up peaceful protesters. They do. They do. The right wing loves power the way the left wing loves when they get government benefits. The left loves it when the government gives them things, and the right loves it when the government comes in and beats the shit out of the left-wing people. They're both so full of shit, I don't even know where to begin. I can't believe the right has been so unbelievably hypocritical throughout these protests and riots. They've got me agreeing with Gavin Newsom on things, which I didn't think could ever happen. I actually watched a CNN piece with that bald fat guy, and I kind of on his side. I never thought that would happen in my life. In my lifetime, Gavin Newsom being actually thoughtful and nuanced and not speaking with his hands like this is wild. He was on CNN going, yeah, these guys that were like burning Waymos and like they should be arrested. Like that's crazy. You can't do that. But also the cops make it way worse. And Trump just sent in the stormtroopers. Didn't even call me. You didn't even call me on the phone, bro. That's sensible. That's really makes a lot of sense. Now, look, I still think Gavin Newsom should be fired. He should lose it. What is he still doing? But anyways, this is how he rides in on his horse. He loves chaos too. Let's just be honest. He loves a wildfire. He loves whenever Trump does something unpopular, he loves it. So this is bad for everybody. It's bad for people who hate Trump, and it's bad for people who hate Gavin Newsom. It's bad because he's going to stay in power the longer that Trump's in power. It's the same way the Canadians, Trump was terrible for the Canadians. The Canadians need a conservative guy to come in and clean that country up. And as soon as he started talking, they elect the same old scumbags. So let's get into it. How bad were these riots actually? Waymos being burned. They did fuck up some California Highway Patrol cars pretty badly. And then you got some drunk guys throwing rocks at undercover ICE cars. But I'm pretty sure, and I've talked to people who live there still. I've talked to friends who live there. I've talked to journalist friends, people who've been on the show before. I'm pretty sure that we are seeing just those 3 videos from different angles recycled over and over and over again. And now you've got guys like, what is that podcast that I hate with those 2 British? Oh, I hate those guys so much. Make British podcasting illegal. We're losing all our freedoms. Kick British podcasters out of America. What is these names? These limey. I hate British people. What are their names? What's the podcast name? Trigonometry. These statists. These CIA, Mossad, MI6 shills. Like, oh, wow, look at Rome is falling because there's 3 Waymos on fire. Who gives a shit? By the way, it's Los Angeles, pretty big city. Can we not agree with that? Probably the biggest metropolis in America, the biggest by square miles. It's downtown LA and Paramount, not Paramount Studios, Paramount, California. You can't pick that out on a map. It's almost Orange County. That's how far south it is. Those are the 2 places where it's going on. Yoga has not stopped in Venice. Spin class is still happening. Okay. It's literally 2 neighborhoods. So that's kind of what I think about him. Now, have the cops come in and, shot tear gas at people and, beat a lot of people up and arrested a lot of people. Definitely. That's what's making these videos look even more chaotic. You come in like that, you're going to create more tension and more pushing and more shoving. Like I said, right-wing YouTubers are feasting. They're feasting. And my arch nemesis, Andrew Callahan, doing some good work out there for Channel 5. Now, the immigration debate is what it is. Look, every country has the right to police who comes into it. Deporting criminals, look, I'm on the side of criminals almost exclusively. I root for the bad guys. However, if you are in Ecuador, if you are in Sweden, if you are in South Africa, if you are in Morocco, if you are in, give me a country. He's not the best improv producer for nothing. Germany. If you are in a country that you are not a citizen of and you are caught doing crime, major crime, even medium crime, you will be arrested, you might do prison time, and then you'll be deported. You'll be physically removed from the country. So what are we talking about here? Okay? So it's up for debate, dude. And Trump, he's bombing in the polls in everything but immigration. So a lot of people want these ICE raids, dude. That's just a fact. There's a lot of people in the country. Now, I don't agree with a lot of it. I don't agree with most of it because we need labor. We are on our way to a currency crisis. We don't have enough people to fill the jobs. We need migrant labor. If you think, and this goes on Rumble, so I'm talking to Rumble. If you think that a Honduran migrant laborer who works in a slaughterhouse in Greeley, Colorado for $5 an hour, if you're worried that you're in competition, that he's in competition for your job, you're a loser. Hey, you're a loser. You got to know that. You need to pick up a Tony Robbins book. Do better. That's wild to me. So we need immigrants add at least $1 trillion to the economy every year. And that's coming from Rand Paul, a Republican from Kentucky. Do we need a more organized system to a process to allow migrant laborers, immigrants, people seeking refuge to become citizens? Absolutely. Guys, stop waving the Mexican flag if you do not want to be sent back to that country. And by the way, most of those people waving the flags, it's come out because they got the biometrics on these people. This is how Orwellian our society already is. They can snap a picture of you, even with your mask on, And just from your eyes alone, they can identify you, especially if you've been through an airport and the TSA snaps your photos. They say, oh, no, it's all good. We delete it afterwards. Sure you do. Who's buying that? Sure you do. So they've already identified these people by their biometrics, and they're like, all of these people are citizens. Like, these are like Mexican Americans raised in Compton that are waving the Mexican flag. Most Mexicans going to work in America that are illegal, that don't have their papers straight, they're keeping quiet. I got a friend, his dad's a leaf blower guy. He does leaf blowing. He's shutting the leaf blower off for a couple days. You know what I mean? That thing's loud. That thing's loud. He's switching to lawn mowing. He's switching to raking. And it almost feels like those are feds. It almost feels like those are George Soros plants because they're so absurd, and it feeds right-wing hysteria. It gives the excuse. It gives the Trump government an excuse to go in and take away all your rights by how stupid you're acting, by saying, hey, you don't have the right to deport me from America, which I am here from for a better life. Like, don't wave the Salvadoran flag when you're protesting in LA to stay in LA. Okay. We can I kind of all agree on how stupid that is. Most people are peacefully protesting. That is a fact. And, you know, you see videos of people walking out of their immigration hearings in court, trying to do the right thing, trying to petition to stay. And as soon as they walk out, ICE is there and they pounce on them. You've seen, you know, mothers getting what looks like kidnapping. I mean, really horrendous, fascist kind of, actions by the government doing these deportations. And that's what people are protesting. And, you know, it's not the what, it's the how. You can't put that genie back in the bottle. Biden let in so many. We just go from one extreme to the other in this country. Biden let in so many people who don't give a shit about America. That's a problem too. Latin Americans, specifically Mexicans, they got a long memory, dude. One of the beauties about America, and also one of the worst things about America, is we have no sense of history. We just drop it and move on. It's one of the great things. You should forget your past. Forget your toxic past. You can move forward. Somebody breaks up with you, there's a brighter day. Mexicans don't forget. They still remember the war when we invaded in like 1838 or something like that. That's wild. Who gives a damn? I mean, even black people have shut up about slavery. Some of them. Oh boy. So a lot of people look at the United States as a money grab. People that come here from Honduras that stay here to work do not and will never think of themselves as American. That opens up a lot of larger questions. Who are we? Should we even have an America? Or should we all agree that this is just a country where you go to hit a lick, get some money, and then go about your business? Go back to your country if you want. Like, maybe this should just be like a money pot. Maybe the United States should not even be a nationality. I mean, it should just be a place where everybody from around the world, and in many ways it already is, it's a melting pot, but you melt it into becoming a citizen. But maybe it's just not working. It's not working. There's too many people in here that come from places where we funded a lot of horrendous wars. Our dollar is the reason, the strength of our dollar and the fact that we print money is the reason that you cannot get ahead in so many of these countries where these immigrants are coming from. Also, you know, they got corrupt governments too. Let's face it. I don't want to blame all of the problems of Venezuela on our government, but that's how most people see it. So there is no unity. There's no unity. But stop waving your stupid country's flag because you're from America probably when you're protesting. What's really going on? What's really going on? Conspiracy theorists are loving this, but it's not really a conspiracy. Look into Plan 2025. The Trump administration, Republicans, right? You want that small government. You want government out of your lives. Nobody even talks about it anymore. Reagan Republicans are dead and gone. Trump just granted an almost $1 trillion contract to Palantir? Look into Palantir. They want to collect everybody's data, everything about every single person in this country, and then conglomerate it into one giant mainframe computer system. Guys that smash a couple of Waymos, give them that excuse. So how am I supposed to think that this is not a setup? This is not a psyop, right? Just like Black Lives Matter. Like, how am I not supposed to think that this is coordinated, that George Soros and these other billionaires, right? A bunch of rocks and stones perfectly laid out for the protesters during the BLM movement, right? How am I not to think that something similar is going on here? That we're not all being played? Huh? The spying society is coming, and it's basically already here. But I do think that the technocrats, and this is why nerds need to be beaten. I mean, nerds need to be treated like, I think not only should nerds in grade school be bullied, I think they should be brutalized. Like, I think they should be stuffed in their lockers. I actually think beaten up, like to a bloody pulp. Do you remember that? Like, you cannot give guys like that, the guy that runs Palantir, he's like a evil dude. These guys need to be stopped in their tracks. They need to be afraid of the world. Guys like Elon Musk need to be afraid. They need to have their confidence so destroyed from a young age that the best they can eke out in life is a very, very humble existence. It is the nerds, although the Bitcoin's fire. So Bitcoin nerdism, fire. It is the nerds that are bringing us very close to not having any semblance of democracy at all. And that's Palantir. They're funding the Israelis, bombing kids. They believe, and these are so-called liberals born out of, the culture of Silicon Valley. They said it years ago. We need to become like China. They look at everything as everybody is an adversary. They look at China as this juggernaut that's going to compete with the United States. And because they spy on all their citizens and they have these social programs, the social programming where you can't spend money if you say something that goes against the government. They control every aspect of your life. It's digital. There is no more cash. That kind of discrimination. They want that in America. They say in order for us to compete with China, we must be like China. That's the action and the thought and the ideology of a madman, don't you see? So don't go for it, dude. Protest, but do not be violent at all. And, it might not do any good because I really don't believe most people show up to be violent. I think it's either a handful of anarchists or plants, operatives of the CIA, of the FBI that are creating these mini false flags in these Democrat-led cities, Chicago, LA, New York, Austin. I mean, there's protests about to happen everywhere as of this recording. They're there to whip up the crowd. They are there to create any kind of violence possible, even if it's just a few driverless cars getting lit on fire as an excuse for a Chinese style. You can't even call it autocracy. It is absolutely a Big Brother Orwellian, futuristic surveillance nightmare. And now we have Trump celebrating his birthday, Soviet Union style. He's going to have tanks. I think he's spending like $35 million just to roll military equipment, tanks, and missiles through the street. The only thing the guy's missing is a uniform. If he had a general's uniform on with some big sunglasses, I mean, you're an African warlord at that point.
Tiananmen Square, were you bastard?
That's right. It's Tiananmen Square. It's Bolshevik Celebration Day. So it's not good. And look, I'm going to do a separate video on this. I voted for the guy. I voted for the guy, but I'll be honest with you. It's because this day was coming regardless. This day was coming, and I wanted him to speed it up. He's also going to be great for Bitcoin. That's my get out of that's my life raft, guys. So the last thing we have to ask ourselves is, do we stay or do we leave? I'm serious. If the United States is nothing but a country where you come to earn your fortune, then maybe we should all leave, even people that were born here. I'll go back to Scotland. I'll move to Mexico, right? If all of these immigrants who come are planning on going back to retire anyways, from whence they came, Chile, Haiti. Well, you're not going to go back to Haiti. Let's face it. That's a real dump. Thanks to us. You know, we helped keep it a dump. Trust me. Look, I'm telling you, be bullish on Mexico, because you are going to see in the next couple of years, and I stand by this, if the Palantir spying comes to fruition, I'm gone. I'm not living. I don't love America enough. And of course I love, I mean, this is my country. This is my land. This is my culture. But how long have I been in this country? Not less than 100 years. The Mitchell clan has been in this country. It might be time to move on. And if you are like me, if you cannot bear to live in a society where you know your every movement is being tracked, you've got to be willing to move to Paraguay, dude. I hope you like Paraguay in the summertime. Where's Paraguay? Who knows? There you go. That is the only way to escape what is potentially a nuclear conflict, what is almost definitely a dollar decline and collapse of the global monetary system, which is the dollar backing everything. All of the chaos that comes with an empire falling. Just go study what happened in Rome, what happened in Britain. Whenever empires begin to crumble, and it's always internally, it's never from an outside invasion, it's always internally. When that happens, they're very, very unpleasant societies to be in. You have to move to a place that's irrelevant. Do you like Uruguay? Do you like the Central African Republic? That's where you got to go. That's where you got to go. Mexico might not even be off the grid enough, you know? These are the choices we have to make. So anyways, shout out to Gavin Newsom. Shout out to Gavin Newsom. By the way, this guy, his campaign manager's wife, he's the scum of the earth, but Trump's got me agreeing with him. Things are not good when that happens. All right, you guys, we're going to get out of here. We'll see you on the flip side. Peace.